I invite you to join me, to participate in this inquiry into the miracle of our souls, to become part of the psychic connection.
One love, what's up, y'all? Naeem here. Going to share my session work for October 2020. So, continuing this experiment, trying to perceive the major news events of the following month. So, today is September 22nd. I've done a session, I've uploaded it online. The link is in the description below, and the password is also in the description. I wanted to do this session earlier in the month, but life gets in the way. So I just managed to bang one out today. So I'm just going to go over this session data quickly, and we'll see what unfolds in the month of October. Created my tasking. The viewer will perceive the top global news stories of October 2020. I used a random number generator to create the target number, which was 33964444. So we scroll down here. My three visual ideograms are very similar, and usually when this kind of thing happens, usually to me, at least personally, that's a sign that the session I'm onto something. You know what I mean? Usually the visual ideograms, when they're consistent, that's usually, to me, not always, but usually is a good sign that I'm getting on to an actual target here, not just imagination. So I had this theme of these horizontal features with kind of like two vertical features splitting, dividing, intersecting. Those are my three visual ideograms there. Probes of complex, hard, natural. Complex, wet, man-made. Simplex, hard, and man-made. This is early low-level data. In my Playfair, I had a lot of sights of life. Almost everything I saw here seemed like life to me. Blowing sounds, wet and damp textures, voices. I had someone screaming help here, a sense of wet, maybe even things floating around, loud sounds, pelting sounds, textures of like muddy, damp, and wet. That's what I had on my first matrix here. My second Nemo Playfair here, I had a sense of blowing, loud, wet. Again, this kind of theme of something, I don't know, dividing or splitting. I had another visual here. I don't know if these are all one event. This is the thing about remote viewing, blind, solo, future event. As the viewer, I don't know if everything I see is connected to each other. These could be completely separate events, a bunch of separate events. We have to wait and see what happens. This could all just be trash. You know what I mean? So, low rumble sounds. I had some visuals of gaseous stuff too. Curling smog or clouds, textures of wet. This was a fairly clear something I'm going to touch on later. I saw life, looked like at least two groups of life there. Again, more mud, a sense of flow, muddy, wet at the target. Here's my S3. I probably should have rotated this somehow. So here's, I just had to rotate that image. Here's my S3. So this is bringing together all the small bits of data and trying to intuitively arrange them on one page. There's times where my S3, the stage, will actually look like the target. There's times when, if an event is very complex or a target's very complex, this could just look like a whole bunch of stuff mashed together. So this is just a starting place for the rest of the session for isolating gestalts. So, my main gestalts were land. I have land 1, water 1, water 2, 3 different aspects of life, like a life multi, life 1, and a life 2. And I had an air 1, which was I had the smoky gaseous type impression. So keeping these gestalts in mind, I move forward and try and isolate these and look at them. So looking at the first aspect of land, what I call land 1, here I have a sense of blowing. Hilly, so a lot of vegetation. It seemed like mostly vegetation here in this area. Land, bunched up vegetation. A sense of wet, hot. It feels like a natural area, but felt somewhat urban, so there may be structures or something in and around here. The sense I get here is off limit. Something about this is off limit. I get a probe of coercive and separate. Probes of part, separate, and divide. So some kind of land area, vegetation, possibly structures, some particulate, and I get a sense of a divide, a separation. And I did a little extra probing here. I got a sense of decay, destroy, emotions of panic, AI of tense. And I had an AOL, I wrote a little AOL off to the side of like a flood. I had these impressions of water building up. So I just had to put that to the side. Moving on to this water 1 aspect. Here I see basically like a stream of rushing water. Don't know the direction. Sense of rushing water stroke stream. And I said something feels man-made about it. I get a sense of extinguish, smells of burnt wood, temperatures of hot. And I get probes of secure, evacuate, a sense of spill, a sense of territory burnt. A couple probes here. I got a sense of extinguish, spill, downpour, burning, emotions of relief and paranoia, kind of mixed feelings there. My AI was like, put it out. So I had an AOL here of like, how there's all these fires going on. This is one of the reasons I wanted to do these sessions earlier in the month. You kind of get all this noise, right? So I had to AOL on the side, like the fires, all those fires that are going on. Sense of fires extinguished. My water 2 gestalt here. This wasn't so clear to me, but you got to put out this data. However best I can put it out. Here I have a sense of splashing some kind of water or liquid, kind of like bordering an area or something. Something feels man-made. Some aspect of this feels man-made. Splashing, kind of like spilling over. There. So I don't know if it's filling up or spilling over. I get a sense of, I wrote here, sense of overflow, collapse, spill, some kind of liquid spill, splashing, downfall, downpour, spill, collapse. And then I get the sense here of flowing water that knocks over things on the way. Something moving kind of like force here. Did a little data matrix here at the bottom, and the impressions I get here are spill, overflow, torrential, downpour, emotions of panic and hide. My AI is like storm season, and I had AOLs of like a dam spill or a storm. You know what I mean? These are the kinds of things that are just nagging at me in this session. Looking at the air gestalt, here I get like a bird's eye view looking down on mostly land and vegetation. And then I see this spot of like cloudy, dark area, crackling sounds. I get a sense of parry, evacuate, distance, and then I get this sense of off limit, kind of like a zone or a district, off limit, sense of off limit. Again, here in the intangibles, I don't know. This could be noise coming in my session. We'll have to see. I get a sense of ignite, inferno, burning, and emotions of panic. My AI there is like disaster, and I just had to AOL like dry spell, like having a dry spell somewhere. Moving on to the life aspects. Here I saw a person, looks male to me. I see them standing, and I don't know what they have. I don't want to say something I don't know. Something that seemed tubular or extended in their possession. I get a whoosh sound. I get textures of wet. Emotions are like panic, run, destabilize. Something feels civilian about this all. I get a sense of extinguish, response, and react. And my probes, intangibles, I get a sense of like prepared, react, observe, rescue, response, paramedic. These are the types of intangibles that I'm sensing for this visual. The emotionals feel like, fight, like ready to fight for this, whatever's happening, and determined. That's what, and I tried to look at this person. Are they going to be highlighted in the news? I don't know, but I get a visual of someone who doesn't have that much hair, maybe a little bit of black hair there, mostly bald, wide face, thin lips, fairly large nose, kind of like a flat face. That's what I see there. Moving on to the second aspect of life from my S3. Here I see a person submerged, hand and head protruding, some movement and splashing, sounds of yells, textures of like nasty water, like brown stuff in the water, emotions of fear and scared, muffled sounds, kind of like water getting in the mouth trying to speak. And, I get a sense of devastated there. My probes are rescue, search and rescue. I don't know, I get patron. Rescue, search and rescue. Emotions of panic, but also emotions of devout. My AI here is like hurry, like a sense of like hurry up and hurry. That's the sense I get inside. And I get an intangible again of this like idea of overflow. Next is my life multi. And this looks like a group of people on one side over here, and at least one person over on this side. And there's a separation in between, and I get a sense of some kind of dynamic is going on between them. I don't know if there's a rope there or something like that, or there's some kind of something going back and forth between them. I'm not sure, but it seemed to me that this person, the single person, felt like they were lower down. I get a sense of struggle, pull, contract, a sense of tension. Again, the struggle. The smell here was just nasty, like a nasty, rotten smell. Not smelling good here. My intangibles. I get this idea of paramedic, rescue, incomplete. Emotions are focused and willing. So, it's the sense I get there. And at this point in my session, I just tried to take some free visuals. There's only so long you can spend on, working a completely blind future target. I can't just work this thing forever. So here I see a person, hands out, extended, reaching towards water. A sense of rescue. And I got a sense of almost like flash flood. Like this reminds me of like a flash flood. Things floating by as like this person is kind of like reaching down. A sense of other people reaching out, reaching up. And then I had this experience like I was in the water and I was like struggling to breathe and reach out and reach up here. I wrote a sense of struggle to breathe, drowning, stroke below surface of water, reach for help upwards. That's what I wrote there. And that's the end of my session. That's the end of my session there. So hopefully that was interesting. I'm going to be keeping an eye out in October for news events that may correspond to this. As for September, had a good hit with the Ginsburg death. The Australia lockdown seems like a hit to me, a decent hit to me. Haven't really seen any events otherwise that match up to some of the other things I was describing. There is some civil unrest and stuff that looks like civil war going on in America right now. Military in the streets, riots, all that kind of stuff. But to me, nothing in my session really looks like an exact match to that event, to those events. I'm looking for real good hits here. Not vague. I'm not looking for vague type stuff here. Anything vague like that, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm not out here trying to make my data match. Thanks for tuning in. Check out my website, www.thefeedbackloop.info. I'll be keeping this project updated. You can also find practice targets, informational videos, and articles on remote viewing there. So once again, thanks for watching. One love, y'all.